My wife 37 female had a stripper at her bachelorette party this past weekend. I 40 male feel betrayed. How do I moved on from this? Together 2.5 years. Legally married for 2.5 weeks. Wife and I have been trying to plan a wedding during the pandemic. We decided to do a quick legal ceremony in July and then a bigger wedding in a few months if it's permitted. So, things are sort of happening out of order. My wife had her bachelorette party this past weekend with about a dozen other girls in a beach town. Most were her friends, but some of my relatives were there too. Overall, the weekend seemed to be a lot of fun without anything too crazy going on. Beach, beer, games, etc. She really wanted to go somewhere fun, but given the circumstances they decided to go somewhere local and stay safe with social distancing and such. Saturday night she called me, and while we were talking, she tells me the girls told her to go away for a few minutes. I jokingly asked if any dudes were going to show up, and she assured me that there's no way. She was wrong. Apparently some girls decided that a stripper would be a good idea. So, a dude showed up and did his thing. From what I was told, she got an initial lap dance and then so did all the other girls. After that, my wife was told to lay on the ground so he could do another routine on her. In just a thong, he proceeded to grind on her and shove his junk in her face. Typical stripper stuff. After that was over, they all walked up to another room and he did more dancing. There he did something where he flipped her upside down and held her, then flipped her back around. Total time spent with the stripper was like 15 minutes. From what I am being told, it was all in good fun. Awkward and ridiculous. Here's where I need your help. I feel like a line was crossed and I can't shake this feeling like she cheated on me. Not that she hooked up with him. Just that this almost totally naked guy's body was all over my wife's body and she was relatively okay with it. She knows I am not okay with the touching part of it. The idea that another man put his junk in my wife's face makes me feel terrible. She says she didn't want it to happen and she was basically frozen with her eyes closed the whole time. She says it meant nothing and that she knows it was a mistake. For me, I feel like I get the initial shock of when he arrived. Not ideal, but I am not unreasonable. But when she laid in the floor and walked into another room with everyone, those are conscious choices. I sometimes don't get social norms, so I tried researching to see if I am crazy, and it seems like the opinions vary from its NBD to its infidelity. I don't want to feel this way anymore. We're already talking to a therapist, but I wanted to see what you all think. I really enjoy hearing other people's perspective on things, so I figured I'd ask. How do I shake this bad feeling and move on? Thanks. Too long didn't read. Wife had a stripper. Seems benign. I feel betrayed. I really never got the point of inviting other people that are presumably supposed to seduce you over the week or so before you are supposed to speak your vows to a life partner. It doesn't make any duckin' sense and invites trouble or second thoughts such as this. Okay, first, this is why you don't invite strippers to someone's party without them knowing it beforehand. As for what you should do, talk to her some more, sir her down, and really explain how it makes you feel. If she still doesn't get it, or even if she does, maybe some therapy will help, either alone or together. Thank you. We are meeting with a therapist. We both believe strongly in mental health, so we've met with a therapist in the past to help us navigate the relationship. We had a session last night and another scheduled for tonight. So far it's been very beneficial. Sounds like she was put in an awkward position, with heaps of peer pressure, and endured for the sake of her guests that paid for it. She didn't ask for it, didn't know it was coming, and bailed out of the situation as soon as she could without causing a scene. Have an open and honest conversation with her about it. Listen to her, and explain why it made you uncomfortable. You'll be okay. We're talking it through. Thank you. Second story. I 23 female am sleeping with a married man 40 male, and now I want to fix this mess before it explodes. How do I tell his wife? Or tell him too? Here's the deal. I posted this on our relationships, which was a bust because I got no real advice. He is cheating on his wife. Yes, that is wrong. I understand. A really shitty thing to do. I met him through work. He works above me. And it started off slowly flirting and going on coffee dates, or him asking me to come along with him and his bosses for work nights. And then it was progressed more, and we had sex for the first time 3 months ago. It was nice. I knew he was married, but I didn't feel much regret. We had sex a lot after this, and he spends a lot of nights with me despite the fact he has a family. He always talked about how his wife was a bee, and was ignoring his needs, and all the random stuff to his coworkers. So I kind of turned her into the bad guy in my head. I thought I was doing a good thing by giving this guy attention. Since then we've been going out. He takes me nice places. He buys me nice things like makeup, and a girl needs help footing this bill. Clothes, random stuff, etc. It's pretty great. The ex is good too. We have good chemistry and everything. However, his wife came in yesterday. It was the first time I ever saw her. She brought one of their kids. I didn't know he had any, but I guess he has 3. I felt guilty. She seemed really nice. He also changed immediately around her. It was like nothing was wrong in their marriage. I assumed in my head that they would be cold with one another. From what he described, his wife seemed evil. Yet here was his near-perfect woman standing in front of me. She was so pretty. And she was so sweet to her kids. I mean, maybe I'm idealizing her, but she just didn't look like someone anyone would cheat on. Guilt was really starting to sink in. I'm not hotter than her. Younger, sure. But that's it. I guess I was just feeling like, why did this happen to her? Why would he do that? I can't help but think I'm gonna get bad karma for this. And I'm gonna be cheated on when I'm married and older. Because of what I'm doing now. Before I had absolutely no guilt. I didn't care one bit that I was sleeping with this woman's husband. It's like she didn't exist. But now I feel like a total home wrecker. Also, after she came in, her husband is acting weird towards me. Like he doesn't even know me. Or as if nothing happened between us. Things have completely 360 ed. I have come to the realization that this is going to implode horribly. I need to lessen this blow to my life. And want to morally turn this around and offset my own karma somehow. Advice appreciated very much. Except skip the whole shitty person thing. I am okay with telling his wife. I just don't know how to handle this. Too long didn't read. I have been having sex with this married man. And I recently met his wife and feel bad. Will this give me bad karma for my future? Speaking my story here. Except I was the wife. This guy is using you. Period. All the stories how she's a beach and doesn't pay attention to him are half-truths. If that. He is manipulating you and is lying to you. I mean, if he can lie to wife and kids about what's he doing when he's really with you and taking money from their family to treat you. He's probably lying to you. As well, when I busted my husband, he begged and begged to come home. Be a family. He was so sorry. Blah blah. I kicked his ass out so hard and I had a preschooler and was 9 months pregnant. My point is that he will not willingly leave his wife for you because why hasn't he? I am going against everyone else. Stop seeing him. Find a new job yesterday and tell his wife. From my side, the line was unforgivable. The fact that everyone else knew it was inexcusable. Give her the choice to decide if she wants to remain married because it isn't only his choice. If I can add my 2 cents as the married woman who was told by the other woman. If you absolutely have to tell her, do it anonymously. The hardest part after knowing about the affair by the other woman was being able to place a name and a face to it. It haunts me. Am I glad I know? Yes and no. It ruined my life but opened my eyes to what was really going on. If you tell her, be kind and be smart. He may be the real bad guy here but you aren't absolving yourself of anything. Best of luck. When a married man has an affair, he has already decided that he is not leaving. For whatever reasons, good or not, in your opinion, he's decided to stay. And sadly, you probably won't be the expectation. He's going to tell you anything that justifies him having an affair even if it's not totally true. Like she's a beach or doesn't pay attention to my needs and so on. You only have half of the story. And he's only going to give you the side that makes him not look like in a hole. So cut your losses and end this now. Otherwise, if you get attached, it's only going to end in heartbreak on your part. He's not going to tell her. You have to decide if you want to tell her. That's up to you. Third story. My friend cheated on her husband and he knows, and I don't know why it's affecting me so hard. So, my friend cheated on her husband a while back and it was with a guy in our friend group. It was a small group of us. And her husband found out. I believe they opened the relationship up for the both of them. Which I don't mind. I just feel like it happened in a bad way in the first place. She just had a newborn a couple months before that and as far as I knew she was elated. She kept wanting to be a mother. But it seemed like she had different expectations. Because of what she did. She broke up our friendship group. So none of us are really friends with her anymore. And then got together with a couple of different guys. And finally settled on a different guy. The other guy now lives with them. Not sure what kind of relationship it is for any of them. But as far as I know, she doesn't work anymore. And both of the guys do. And they just recently upgraded from small apartment to house. My question is, why does this affect me so much? I don't know how to word this. I think I am more confused and watching a train wreck in slow motion and just standing there. Edit. I should probably mention that it's her first child and that they thought she had postpartum but the doctor said everything was fine. Just in case anyone mentions that. Second, edit. This all happened last year but for some reason I still can't get over it. We were really close. Practically attached at the hip so it just came out of the blue. I thought they were pretty solid as a couple as far as I could see. I saw no red flags. Then all of a sudden she did this and now a guy is living with her and her husband and they're both paying the bills. The friend group has shunned her at this point. She manipulated the situation and said the guy from the friend group had taken advantage of her in her state, which she still hasn't explained what. Finally, in an aspect I don't understand why it is affecting me so much. I think I blame me for not saying anything and not noticing anything, but I look back on it and see it all as fine. It rattled your foundation. She was rewarded for dishonesty and self-serving damaging behavior. If you are like me, you may think that a decent guy is compromising himself to try and save his family by accepting something he doesn't really want. He was badly used. That poor child is in the middle of it. Fourth story. I 42 male caught my wife 39 female cheating with my niece 23 female. My wife and I have been married for 13 years. We were a loving couple and haven't had any major problems in our relationship over that time. She had some complications with her uterus early in our relationship, so we decided to not have children. I have an elder brother who has a daughter, because I didn't have children. I loved her like she was my child. My niece and I have a great relationship, better than the one she has with her parents. She shares a lot more about her life with me and my wife than she does with my brother. I paid for her schooling in a private school and had a very active role in her life. My wife was always very supportive of this. My niece got accepted into college in my city, so I asked her to live with my wife and me instead of staying in a dorm. I'm paying her college fees too. She has been living with us for over 3 years and we've had a great home. As part of my job, I have to visit job sites all over the country and I'm not home for a week almost every month. Last week, I had to go on such a trip. I managed to finish the job in 4 days and decided to surprise my wife and niece. I bought some dresses as a gift and came back 2 days early without telling them. When I went into our house, I found my wife and niece having sex in our bed. I did not understand what was happening for a few moments. When it sunk in, I fell to my knees sobbing. I'm feeling devastated. The two people I loved most in the world were deceiving me. I feel like my world is ending. I locked myself in the guest room after that happened. They told me that it was happening for a few months. My wife told me that she hasn't cheated before, and I want to believe her. I love them so much and I can't get myself to be angry at them. This happened yesterday and I haven't spoken to them since. They keep apologizing and crying, begging me to forgive them. I cried myself to sleep yesterday. I still don't know what to think. I'm feeling betrayed and haven't even been able to function properly. I don't know how to proceed. I have nothing to live for if not for my wife and niece. Should I tell my brother? What should I do with my wife? How do I move forward from this? I am truly lost. Too long didn't read caught wife and niece having sex. What should I do? Divorce your wife, kick out your niece and stop paying her tuition. Tell your brother, do not fall for the tears. They will do it again if given the chance. That was not a mistake. That was them betraying you for months while your niece was taking advantage of you financially to boot. That's disgusting. Not to mention it's basically incest if your wife was almost a parental figure to her. I don't think you should save this marriage. In general, I think working through cheating can happen for some couples, but I don't see it here. There's way too much. You've been married 13 years and your niece is 23. That means your wife has known your niece since she was 10. A literal child. She should have formed a familial bond, not a sexual one. I would have serious questions about anyone who develops a sexual relationship with someone they helped raise from childhood. I'd be concerned about possible grooming, prior inappropriate behavior, etc. Red flags all around. Your niece is family and your wife was okay with that. I need a shower after just reading this because I feel gross. As for your niece, she may have been groomed for this, but she's 23, not a child any longer. She made the conscious choice to sleep with not only a married woman but one who was married to family. Honestly, I'd move states away, get a new job and never speak to either of them again. If anyone asks why, I'd tell the God's honest truth. If they give you hell, I'd cut them out. 2. Edit. Thanks for the awards. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.